Hi everyone, Laura Wilson here from UNI Career Services today to lead you in our interview workshop. Today we're going to focus on 3 objectives, the first of which is focusing on the items that you can control in an interview, writing actual answers to interview questions, and hopefully our last objective will help you reduce the nerves that you have throughout the interview process. Our first objective, focusing on what you can control, really allows us to take a look at how we can best prepare for an interview. The first thing I advise students to do is review a job posting. Go over it with a highlighter if you need to be able to identify key skills and experiences they may be seeking. It will also help you anticipate questions that they could ask you during the course of the interview. Go over the company website. Know what they do. What's their product? What's their service? Who are their clients or who do they serve? Study the interview agenda. Some interviews may involve multiple meetings. Know if you're going to lunch with a young alum. Know if you're meeting with a panel or one-on-one with a potential supervisor. Read bios and LinkedIn profiles of interviewers you're going to be meeting with. It's good to know who you're going to be seeing and who you're going to be talking to ahead of time. Other things that you can do in preparation and that you can control is having 3 to 5 copies of your resume with you during the interview. More than likely, they've already seen your resume, but you want to have copies with you in case they request one. You want to print the job description, questions you plan to ask, and company information. Make sure that you have that with you so that if you need to refer to it, it's handy. Make sure that you get a haircut. You dress appropriately. You bring a padfolio with you. Small things getting ready for the interview that are going to set you up for success. If the interview happens to be virtual, make sure that you eliminate background noise and make sure that you think about what your background looks like behind you. You want it to be clean and clear and simple. Make sure you have a computer that is working and a good internet connection so that there's no technical issues when you perform your virtual interview. Always have a backup plan. If you anticipate there could be technology issues, or even if you don't anticipate it, have the phone number of the recruiter nearby if you need to call them in case your technology drops or you're unable to complete the virtual interview. If the interview's on site, make sure that you know directions to where you're going, make sure you know what the parking is like, and the traffic, the time of day, so that you arrive on time. Be nice to everyone that you encounter, from the parking garage attendant to the janitor to the receptionist. Make sure that you have good posture and use nonverbals to be engaged. Good eye contact, a smile, leaning in and showing engagement are all good ideas and things that you can control in the course of the interview. Some other things that you can do is, as I mentioned, when you're looking at that job description, anticipate the questions based on the job posting. Practice the interview at least once before you go. We have standout or mock interviews available to you so that you can practice interviewing ahead of time. It's good to run through some questions and work out the nerves. We're going to focus on preparing some common answers to questions that you're going to hear. Tell us about yourself. Why did you apply? Strengths and weaknesses. And we also encourage you to come up with 10 or more interesting stories from work and school that you may be able to use. Review the job description to better anticipate questions employers may ask. For example, on this slide, you see highlighted words such as design and website updates. If the employer asked you, have you updated a website before? How would you answer that question? If they said, tell me about a time when you had to design something that will be published digitally, what would your response be? These are examples of ways that you can use the job description to anticipate questions. A common way that many employers will start off an interview is with the question, tell me about yourself. There are a lot of different ways you could answer this question, but if we were going to give you some prompts or ideas of things to include, these would be the things we would suggest. First, start with your name, particularly if it's difficult to pronounce, your year in school, and your major. Then think about what you're involved in. Do you volunteer in the community? Are you active in any student groups on campus? From there, talk about or summarize your work experience. You don't have to go into each job, but think about key skills and experiences that have made you qualified for this job or internship you're interviewing for. Finally, close off your answer with any special skills you have, relevant experience, connections you have, why you applied or why you're excited to be there. Practice saying all of these things in a nice flowing fashion so that you're delivering it in the way that makes you sound professional and polished without being over-rehearsed. Another common interview question that many employers will use are, what are your strengths and weaknesses? With strengths and weaknesses, we can talk about things that are job or position specific. With strengths, we always suggest listing at least 3 things that you feel like are relevant to the position, are actual strengths you possess, and things that you can back up with examples. For the weakness, never give them more than one weakness unless they ask for multiple. We want to minimize how many negative things we say about ourselves. A weakness can be something that you're working on. Maybe you're able to do it, but you know you could be better at it. For example, maybe this internship or job requires a certain piece of software. You don't have a lot of experience with it, but you know that you're technically astute and can pick it up very quickly. In that case, that is turning something negative into a positive because you know you can improve and get better at it. Think of things like that for your weakness rather than things like, I work too hard, I can't say no. We want it to legitimately be a skill or experience that you know you can get better at. There are other questions besides your strengths and weaknesses and tell me about yourself that we want you to prepare. And 3 such examples are, why did you apply? Why should we hire you? And why do you want to work here? You need to have good answers prepared as to what drew you to the position or the company you're applying with. Sometimes as a career advisor, students will come in and say, I just need something in my field. Well, you can't say that to the employer, so give them a reason. Did they come to a student organization and you enjoyed their presentation and wanted to learn more? Did you have a great conversation with them at the career fair? Did you talk with someone that had interned there previously and had a great experience? Be able to give them some reasons for why you are excited about the role and the company. We've spent some time talking about common types of questions you'll encounter in an interview and how you can prepare for those. Now I want to take a moment to talk about behavior-based questions. Behavioral questions are used by many of the recruiters that come to you and I, and it really is asking you to tell a story in response for your answer. Behavior-based questions often start off with, tell me about a time when, describe a situation when, give me an example of, and that's your verbal cue that, okay, I need to use the STAR approach and tell a story from work or from school. What is the STAR approach? STAR stands for situation or task, action, and then result or reflection. A STAR answer is a complete answer to a behavior-based question and what employers that use this questioning type are looking for. How can you prepare for behavior-based questions? Think about what kinds of stories you would want to tell. As I mentioned, we definitely want to focus on work because your best examples are from work. And if you didn't experience it at work, then we want to talk about it from a student organization perspective or a classroom perspective. There's a list of prompts here and some things that I want you to think about. Thinking about prompts like this is going to help you have some stories in your pocket for when you walk into that interview. Some ideas of think about a story that you can talk about where you had the best customer or the worst customer, when something out of the ordinary happened and you had to adapt, a time when you stepped up, a time when everything went wrong, because sometimes behavior-based questions can be negative, a time when a team was better because of you, a time when you innovated, and so on and so forth. These are some things to kind of think about as you prepare for a behavior-based interview. The next thing that I would do once you take one of these prompts is write out STAR horizontally on a piece of paper. Write down what the specific situation was for each of these instances, what actions you took, and then how that story turned out. Let's do one behavior-based question together and practice using the STAR approach. If an employer asked you, tell me about a time you dealt with a difficult customer. If you were going to prepare for that question, again, think about that specific situation. Sometimes when my students have worked in the restaurant industry and they've encountered a lot of difficult customers, they may give me some sort of general answer and say something like, well, orders often will get wrong out of the kitchen and customers can be upset. But that's not specific enough. When we use behavior-based questioning, we want to go to the level of, last week, I had a customer that ordered a hamburger that was not fully cooked. That's how specific we want to be. If we aren't that specific, it's very difficult to give specific action steps and have a firm result. So let's go with that one customer that ordered the hamburger that was not fully cooked. From there, then I want you to talk about what action steps you took. So the first step might be hearing the customer out and hearing that they were upset, listening to them, giving your full attention. Then taking the hamburger away, going back to the kitchen and asking them to cook them a new hamburger. While that was going on, maybe you took the action step of talking with your manager to see if you could give this customer a free meal. Then you're going to return the hamburger to the table, make sure the customer is satisfied before you move on. Those are going to be your action steps, and I always like to see multiple action steps when you're answering a question. For your result, because this is the most important piece, and this is the cherry on top of your answer, so we want to make sure we include it. And sometimes students will forget to tell us the result. So in this case, with the customer with the undercooked hamburger, if they were happy because of the level of service you provided and thrilled that they were given a discount coupon for the next time they came to the restaurant, and on top of that, they continued to be a regular customer, that gives your answer the best kind of scenario. Employers love to hear that you've turned this negative situation all the way around, and it really showcases what good quality customer service you've provided. So again, when you're practicing these prompts, really make sure you have a specific situation so that you can give multiple action steps and have a firm result. And hopefully that result will be a wonderful one like the example I just gave. Here would be a good place for you to pause the video, pick a couple of these prompts, and practice what your star answer would be if you were going to tell these stories in an interview. Take just a moment to do that now. I hope that practice went well and that you're getting a good handle on using the STAR approach to answer behavior-based questions. At the end of an interview, it's very common for the employer to say, "What questions do you have for me?" As we mentioned in your interview prep, we want you to always have some questions prepared ahead of time. It's good to be curious about the role, the company, whatever it is you want to know about the position. So have 3 to 5 questions ready to go. The last question you always ask should be inquiring about the next steps. Will there be another round of interviews? When will you hear back from them? Make sure that you always ask that at the end. And finally, send a thank you note. It can be handwritten if you have the capability to do that and the time, or at least an email thank you is always appreciated. And it's surprising how many candidates don't do it. So it could be the thing that makes you stand out. Now that we've practiced answering some questions and talking through some ways that you can prepare, here's some tips that we have for reducing nervousness as you enter into the interview situation. First, put the work in on the front side. All the things that we've talked about up to this point, including practicing interview questions, anticipating questions, having all of your materials and dress ready to go, are really important to setting yourself up to be confident and successful. Second, remind yourself that already they think you're qualified for this role. They wouldn't be interviewing you if they didn't. Third, remember they're just people, and this is a conversation. This interview is as much for you to figure out if this company's a good fit as it is for them to decide if you're a good candidate for the role. Sleep, water, and attitude are our fourth point. Make sure that you're getting plenty of rest, drinking water, and go into the interview situation with a positive attitude. Finally, for our last tip, work with Career Services. We're here to do mock interviews with you, practice, give you advice, some additional tips for preparing for interviews, and we want to help you be successful. Okay, Business 2000 students, I hope that this has helped given you some insight as to how you can prepare and be a good interviewer. If you have questions, please come see Bailey or myself in Career Services. We are here to help. One last thing that I want to close with and make sure you're aware of is you all will need to complete a mock interview as an assignment for this course. We will be bringing in employers to do mock interviews with students on Tuesday, March 28th, Wednesday, March 29th, and Thursday, March 30th. On the screen, you can see which days, which employers are coming, as well as whether those interviews will be virtual or in person. All of these will be signed up for through Handshake, and they are available for you to sign up now. Simply log into Handshake, and then in the job search window, type in mock. You're going to treat this just like you're applying for a real job and signing up for an interview. So just type mock into the job search keyword window, and all the employers that are coming will pop up. You can view the employer, quickly apply by submitting your resume, and it will automatically send you to sign up for a time slot with that particular employer. If you have questions about signing up for a mock interview with an employer, please see myself, Bailey, or come to the CBB5 window, and we're here to help you with that process. Not everyone is going to be able to do a mock interview with an employer, as I don't have enough slots for everyone. For those of you that are not able to sign up with an employer, you will complete your mock interview assignment with me, Bailey, or one of our career assistants. And you can schedule that just as an appointment with our office, either through Handshake or also at the CBB5 window. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, laura.wilson@uni.edu. Thank you for your time. Please come and see me if you have any questions about interviewing. Have a great day.